Welcome back, everyone.
Oh my god. Hi. So we have another belter of a case today.
Yes, another amazing case.
This case is so different because it's so detailed with so many pieces to the puzzle, yet it doesn't actually have a resolution, unlike the Bernard Oliver case that
where
we
there
just
wasn't as
covered.
much there.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't as much to it.
Mm.
Whereas this one, there's so many details and there's so much specific things. And so, honestly, it's amazing. There's so many theories as well. How many theories is there? Hold on, let me just... Yeah.
I'm not actually sure.
There is loads. We'll get to it. But yeah, so on April 18th, 1943, 4 local boys who were Robert Hart, Thomas Willits, Bob Farmer, and Fred Payne, like Liam Payne. They were poaching for bird nesting, so that's when they go out and they look for bird nests and baby birds and things, in Hagley Wood, which is part of the Hagley estate that belonged to Lord Cobham, near Witchbury
Hill.
Witchbury Hill.
Another hill.
Jesus.
Honestly.
Yeah, and then they came across a really big Wych Elm, which was a big tree that looks something like this up here. Is it on the back of here as well? No. I don't know where that went, but regardless, that's what the tree looks like. It's kind of like a willow's tree at the bottom where it's
Fat.
like big and fat and spiky and, all that sort of stuff. And they thought, obviously, going to be a great place for birds right in the middle of that. There's loads of twigs. It works really well. Bob Farmer, he tried to climb the tree to investigate. And as he climbed, he took a glance down. And inside the hollow trunk of this dead tree, he discovered a human skull.
A skull.
A human skull.
Oh
In a tree.
In a
What are
tree.
the odds?
Now, at first, he believed it to be that of an animal, as you would do, because it's in a tree. It's in a bloody tree. But after seeing human hair and teeth, he realised that he'd found a human skull. As they were on the land illegally, the farmer put the skull back, and all 4 boys returned home without mentioning their discovery to anyone. However, upon returning home, the eldest of boys, Willits, felt really uneasy on what he'd just seen and decided to report the find to his parents.
Yeah, like they tried really hard because, they were on the land. It wasn't legally.
Yeah.
They weren't allowed to be. They were trespassing, basically.
And they were boys.
They were boys. They were young. They just didn't want to get caught, so they kind of just left it there. And unfortunately...
Young boys are silly.
Well, fortunately, because, now they got the case to talk about. But yeah, they got a bit nervous and he had to, report it to his parents. I would, eventually.
Yeah.
You would too.
Yeah.
You're a wuss.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love you.
Love you more. And then obviously, when the police checked the trunk of the tree, they found the skull, but they also found almost a complete skeleton.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not just a skull.
Wow.
With a shoe, a gold wedding band, and bits of clothing, different types of clothing. Well, and the skull was the most valuable evidence because it still had tufts of hair attached, and you could see that it had dental work, done. Despite missing some of the teeth, you could see that she'd had dental work done recently. But after they investigated, looked around the area, and they found the remains of a hand some distance from the tree. Now, it's not 100%. I don't know whether it was it was from her or the skeleton. We don't know if it was a her, but it's the actual cases, they called the skeleton and the skull Bella. And we'll get into why when we get later on in the theories, but the whole point is who put Bella in the Wych Elm, So that's why we would go with her for now.
Now, the body was actually sent for forensic examination by James Webster. I like that name.
It's a nice name.
Quickly
it's Jake.
established...
What's his name? Jake.
Is it Webster?
Weber. That's the one.
Weber.
Jake Weber. He's a YouTuber
Yeah.
that we watch. Do you know who I think really acts like Talia? From Simon and Talia?
I don't watch Sidemen.
Ash really acts like Talia. Go look up Talia Tuesday on Simon's channel, the recent one. Literally Ash. Just saying. Sorry, it just popped into my head about one of my friends acts like Simon Minch's girlfriend. It's crazy. They like to spit of each other.
Well, he quickly established that it was that of a female, who had been dead for at least 18 months.
So
That's
like
over a year.
a year and a half.
Yeah. And placing the time of death in or before October 1941. So,
Bear in mind, this was found in 1943.
yeah. So that's a good near 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Webster also discovered a section of taffeta in her mouth.
Which is taffeta is a type of
suggesting-
fabric, may I just add.
Suggesting that she had died from suffocation. From the measurement of the tree trunk, in which the body had been discovered, he also deduced that it might have been placed there.
Must have been
Placed there still warm for after the killing, as it could not have been fitted once rigor mortis had taken hold. Now,
Yeah,
rigor mortis
so
is literally just when your body goes like
and you
seizes.
like cramp up and you get stiff.
It's
and
when your
stuff.
muscles just freeze in place.
Yeah, but the fact that they're saying like this is a specialist, this is someone who does this properly, is saying that like this was a killing, and because there are some theories that
Yeah.
are accidental, but like the fact that this like professional
Yeah.
is saying, oh, it was definitely a killing, and is saying that she wouldn't have fit in that tree trunk
Yeah.
once she'd been dead for too long is kind of eerie. Do you know what I mean? Because it means she must
It
have been in
is.
there since like just after she died, or died while being
Handled
in
while she was still
there. Warm. That's such an eerie thing to say. Still warm.
Still warm.
Like, we're not talking about the leftover pasta from yesterday. We're
Mm-mm.
talking about a human person that was still warm. It's so weird. Oh my gosh, my pen.
No, not your pen.
It's okay, I've retrieved my pen.
Disgusting.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
Right.
Sorry, I'm just checking. Yeah, okay.
Are they still on?
Yeah, they are. Sorry, I was just checking the mics. They like to turn on and off. We don't know how much space this SD card has, guys. We're praying.
And I'm not even religious.
Me neither.
So, you know. Anyway.
Moving on. The police could tell from, you know, the items that were found with the body that the woman, what she kind of looked like.
Mhm.
I don't have a reference photo for you.
Unfortunately.
I will put one up here, right here,
Right in the middle.
of the sketch that they did of her. Yeah, but with so many people that were reported missing during the Second World War, it was like the records were too many for like any proper identification to take place. Because you've got to
Yeah.
imagine how many people got lost in the rubble and had fled the war and never been found,
Yeah.
right? And she, you know, she was found around the same time, so there was just too many reports of missing people. You shedding, are you?
I'm shedding.
I just saw you pick a hair up.
Like a snake.
Like a rabbit. You're not shedding your skin, you're shedding your hair.
Okay.
Side eye. But yeah, as I was saying, there was way too many people that had been reported missing for them to actually go through any sort of proper identification. But they did cross-reference some of the details they had with reports of missing people throughout the like area she was found in, and none of them really seemed to match any of the evidence that they had for her. And they also contacted every single dentist in the area, since obviously like the way her teeth was very distinctive. Like it was specific.
And they don't rot either.
It was new. You know, like they could tell. Well, maybe not new, but it was like very specific, if that makes sense. So, like I said, distinctive. So yeah, she's just yeah. They couldn't find any match in any dentists.
Which is really strange.
Yeah, because like, how is she gonna go to have obvious dental work done and then no dentist know? My thought about that is like, actually, we'll get to that. That's so great.
No,
Well, no, we can pick up on it a little bit now because it's relevant because we're talking about the dentist.
that
stuff.
would
Okay,
mean
so
she wasn't from the area then.
either she wasn't from the UK or the area, or it fits in with the theory that she's a prostitute because she could solicit a dentist.
Yeah.
Because prostitution's illegal, was illegal, is illegal, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, no one's going to admit that they had a prostitute in their dental surgery, are they?
No,
Let's be
of
honest.
course not.
She could have solicited him, paid him in other ways, and he obviously wouldn't have it on file, he wouldn't have it, wouldn't say it sort of thing, so that's where I come from with that. But anyways, we'll get more into that when we get to the theories.
In a Radio 4 programme, first broadcast in August 2014. Okay.
Jesus,
So
that was like
so
9 years ago.
The case took
Oh
place
God, I feel old.
43.
No, 2014 was 9 years ago.
No, that's when my sister was born. I'm not actually going.
I feel like
Steve
an old man.
Punt.
Steve Punt.
There's a word
Sounds
that I kind of want to say, but I don't think we will be allowed to say that now.
We'd get in trouble. I'm
Yes.
gonna get my friend because I feel like you've got your friend and I haven't got mine.
Thank you, Billy.
We've got comfort animals.
Anyway, now Steve Punt suggested 2 possible victims. One was reported to brain fart. One was reported to the police in 1944 by a Birmingham sex worker. In the report, she had stated that another sex worker called Bella, who worked on the Hagley Road, she disappeared about 3 years previously.
So that would have been 1941, which is when they, estimated that she'd been died.
Yeah. Now, the name Bella, or Lou Bella, suggested that the graffiti writer was probably aware of the identity.
So let me just go into a little bit about the graffiti. So this popped up about a year or so, maybe 2 years after she was found. And basically it was on one of the statues in the area, and it says, "Who put Bella in the Wych Elm?" Now, albeit they can't spell because they spelled Wych Elm wrong. They spelled it like witch, like Wingardium Leviosa witch, not witches in the tree witch. But that was a huge deal because not many people knew the details of the case because they tried to keep it a little bit underground, because there was another theory that she was a Nazi spy. And obviously no one wants to know there's a Nazi spy. Wouldn't have said anything. But I'm going to put bigger pictures of this up here for you right now. Have a little look. I'm going to put an even bigger version here. But yeah, so that sparked a lot of interest for everyone because how did they know? How did they know her name? Because they didn't identify her. She'd never been identified. Formally, she's never been identified.
She was a Jane Doe, basically.
So she was basically a whole Jane Doe, and she's never been identified. So how would they know her name's Bella if they didn't identify her? It doesn't make any sense, guys. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh my God.
It doesn't make any sense.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so this is the graffiti that we're referring to. Just for classifications. But anyway, so, and then a second theory comes from an MI5 declassified file about Joseph Jacobs. Or Joseph Jacobs. He was the last man to be put to death in the Tower of London on the 15th of August, 1941.
Interesting.
Can we just talk about that for a second, please?
Yeah.
He was the last guy to ever be executed in the Tower of London. I've been in the Tower of London.
I have too when I was really young.
Yeah. That was only 40 years ago. 40 years ago we were still executing people. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe some people do deserve the death penalty.
41. So this is over 60 years ago.
It is. It's 60 years ago. That's still not that long.
That's still, my nan was alive.
Yeah, my nan was alive when they executed him.
My great nan, sorry.
No, my nan was alive. My nan's 65, 66.
She would have been born in 50-something. If they're 60-something.
No, she's 66.
Oh.
So she would have been born 23.
Because I know my nan was... my nan was born
43,
55.
43. What's 100 minus 43? 60, 57. She would have been born in 57, so she would have been just after he was executed.
Yeah, but still.
Regardless.
That puts into perspective...
That's disgusting, never do that again. I'm sorry, guys.
Puts into perspective...
Just how...
Kind of early. That's still so not long ago.
No, in the entire concept of the entire world, we have been here for so many million years. Were you going to lick the mic?
No.
Anyways, so in perspective, that is insane. That is nothing. That is a day compared to the amount of millions of years we've been here. It's insane how it took that long to stop executing people. But albeit, I do believe some people deserve the death penalty still.
Yes, but that is a very controversial...
Because I am harsh And I mean, explain your thoughts on the whole thing in the comments. I'd love to have conversations about it. I'd love to have a little debate in the comments. I love all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Evidently, that's why I'm sat here waffling, because I'm a waffler, okay?
I love waffles.
Hold on, I'm going to go back and I'm going to delete that because we're not supposed to be waffling.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. But yeah, so personally, I agree some people should still be given the death penalty. I know it's controversial. We should definitely have a discussion about it in the comments. I would love to see what it is you guys think about it, because I think some people deserve it. I also think that some people get the easy way out, I know, but like whatever's after this world, like whether it's you believe in a religion and an afterlife, or whether you believe that, they're gone, they're in the ground, that is done and over with. Regardless, if you believe in any sort of afterlife, they're going down to a not very nice place. They're going to get even worse down there than they are up here. Mm-hmm. And if they're going into the ground, for them, that's that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's that over and done with. So, you know,
so
that's just how I feel.
15th of August, 1941.
Yes. So an Abwehr agent, which was Abwehr, some sort of German agent, he parachuted into Cambridgeshire in 1941. But he broke his ankle when landing, and he was arrested by the Home Guard. Mm-hmm. On his person was found a photo of his possible lover, a German cabaret singer, an actress named Clara Buell, Clara Buell Jacobs. Clara Buell. I don't know how to say it. Let's be honest, I butchered that. Jacob said that she was being trained as a spy, and that he had made contact, and that she might have been sent over to England after him, right? However, there isn't really any evidence that Clara Buella was parachuted into England, and several witnesses described Clara...
Just say Clara.
Clara Buell.
Just don't even say a lot.
Yeah, just Clara. They described that... witnesses
Clara.
described that Clara was around 6 foot tall, which is 180 centimetres, and Bella was only 5 foot tall, which is 150 centimetres. And in September of 2016, it was determined that Clara had died in Berlin on the 16th of December at 1942. So it's possible still a theory, because like they're going to make up any sort of cover-up to pretend that Nazi spies were even in London, obviously. But it could also be discounted because there's a bit too much against it.
Yeah. In 1945, Margaret Murray, an anthropologist and architect at University College...
Anthropologist and archaeologist.
What did I say?
Architect.
Oh, sugar. An anthropologist and archaeologist.
That's the one. You almost said it again there.
Yeah. At University College London, proposed a more radical theory.
Realistic. She's being real, as women normally do. Witchcraft. Wizardry.
Hogwarts School.
I told you
Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
I told you we have the same brain, guys.
We do.
We both went there. We didn't even plan this. We're just like...
We're
having
going.
a good time. And I can't believe that just happened.
No, she believed that the severing of one hand was consistent with a ritual called the Hand of Glory.
Did she?
After the victim had been killed by Romani people during...
Romani?
Right.
Romani.
During an occult
Sorry, that was really
ritual.
rude. I'm sorry. I love you, really. It's like the Titanic. Don't let go, Jack. I'll never let go.
No. Basically, her ideas excited. The ideas. Her ideas.
Her ideas.
Excited the local press. Led investigators to consider another seemingly ritualistic killing of a man, Charles Walton, in nearby Lower Quinton.
So basically, another killing happened that was a very similar nature. Basically, the whole theory is that they cut off the hand, offer the hand to their god, and then put the body back into the earth so it can be absorbed. And the same sort of ritualistic style killing happened to a man called Charles Walton, like we said, in Lower Quinton nearby. So it kind of fits the vibe that it was ritualistic, because, I mean, there's two theories here that I kind of are inclined to actually think about. One of the, I'm not 100% on the whole Nazi spy thing, to be honest. There's too much that discounts it for it to be like a genuinely acceptable theory in my eyes. It's not a questionable. There's too much that's like, people say Clara Buell was 6 foot, Bella was 5. They said she died in December of
1942.
Yeah, in 1942. I just wanted to check because it says 2016, but that was when they found out that she'd died.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just doesn't make enough sense. There's not enough to it. It's just she's not the same person.
It just doesn't make any sense. Now, the sex worker prostitute theory makes a lot more sense.
It all adds up. The time frame for that theory adds up, and it works.
It does.
You know, in those kind of days, and even now in some places, an eye for an eye. You steal something, you get your hand cut off. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe she was a prostitute. You know, she owed someone something.
She stole something, maybe.
Who knows?
But honestly, like, it does make sense because
a lot at the time there was a hell of a lot of prostitution around and murders of prostitutes.
Yeah.
And no one's keeping track of them because they're prostitutes. Yeah. And if they have resorted to that, they probably didn't have anyone to go to or anything to turn to at that point. Are you struggling?
No, but I feel like we should cover the graffiti.
What, even more?
Even more, because
the graffiti turned up around the exact same time that the report was made about her being a potential sex worker.
Because if that's the case, no one knew her name. Her name didn't come out. How would they have known her name? My theory is that possibly it was one of her clients.
Yes, but also my theory is like, then again, yes, good theory, but it could also be discounted because I'm not sure what came out first. So it could have just been this was a random person trying to get a name for it, and they saw it, and that came out that it was a potential prostitute, and then someone did that. Or back and forth. But it makes a little bit of sense for them to be connected.
I have got... So, when did you say the graffiti came out?
Around 1943, 1944-ish. So it was right after when she got found. Before they'd really released anything about the case. Which is funny because like I said, the fact that she could have been a prostitute was released in 1944. That was when the report was made.
I was thinking, because I couldn't remember when the graffiti was done. Margaret Murray thought it was witchcraft. The spelling on the graffiti, Wych Elm, witchcraft, she thought that it was a ritual, a witchcraft ritual. So who put her in the Wych Elm, the witch's elm?
All I'm saying, guys, is Wych Elm, like tree, is spelled W-Y-C-H. The graffiti is spelled witch, like wizard and witch.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't a spelling mistake.
Maybe it was intentional. Maybe...
Guys, Cass has just actually broke the case right now. Cass has just actually solved it.
It's still just a theory. It's hypothetical.
It's a hypothetical theory, but like, guys.
But it can't just come out of nowhere. Yes, so be it. Some people can't spell. But this is too, like, laid out.
Yeah.
So, what's it called? Margaret Murray thought that severing of one hand, which is what Bella had done to her, cut off one hand, thought it was a ritual called the Hand of Glory because she was killed in an occult ritual. She thought it was all connected to witchcraft. All I'm saying is that, you know, they might not have spelt it wrong on purpose. They might have done it on purpose.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They might not have spelt it wrong. It might have been on purpose.
Literally, like...
I mean, I personally am more inclined to... Oh my god, my pen.
Again? Oh. Always dropping your pen.
Guys, I'm clumsy. I'm very clumsy. But, yeah, so... Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not inclined to believe the MI5 declassified Nazi spy.
No.
I am, however, inclined to believe the potential that she was a prostitute. Because if she was missing for 18 months... And obviously no one really cared that much to find her.
If no one
realised that she was missing... Because there wasn't a report that matched her in the area.
Yeah.
And most of the time, prostitutes will change their name and go...
Locations.
They won't...
Because if they were found, they'd get arrested.
Yeah, and also, they're not going to want their family to know that they've been a prostitute, are they? So, yeah, I can understand that one, and I can also kind of understand the witchcraft one, because at that time, there was a lot of cult activity. It was just after the World War. There was all this... disaster, and a lot of people got away with a lot of things. There was
Not
a lot
only
of
just
murders
that,
and
but
things that didn't get caught because they thought
a
it was
lot of different cults were starting out.
exactly. So
Whether that be a cult, like cults,
or cult or a cult, either way.
any sort of cults. They were just
I
starting
mean, every
out,
religion's a cult at the start, isn't it?
basically.
The bigger it gets, the less cult-like it is. But I mean, every
It's
religion's a
at
cult.
the end of the day, it's still a cult.
Yeah. So
Sozzles.
controversial, but actually, technically, a cult is just basically a small group of people that follow a
same
certain
thing.
religion or follow the same thing.
Mm.
Every religion must have started that way somehow.
Every religion, every cult is following a certain person.
Or or people.
Or people.
They're following something.
And all I'm saying is, every religion is like that.
Yeah.
They're looking up to one person.
Or a group of people.
But still.
Namido.
Neither.
Namido. But yeah, I don't know. There's loads to it. Like, yeah, it could be either of them, honestly. I'm leaning more towards the prostitute, though. Because for the time and for it being a really not that big town, it was only like a local town in Hagleywood. Have you ever heard of Hagleywood?
No.
Hagley Estate?
No.
No, not really. Like, it's not a big enough area
Yeah.
where I think it's not like Florida, Oklahoma, America, or like central London or somewhere that's known. It's like not a known place. So how and why? You know, like why and how is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't believe that Bella herself was a witch,
No, not at all.
but I've like, you know,
Maybe she was. Maybe she was part of the ritual. Maybe she sacrificed herself. Maybe she
Yeah.
agreed to it.
I mean, there are some theories in certain cults, like culturalistic spells or rituals. It's either, you know, the blood of a virgin, the body of a virgin, or blood or body of a prostitute.
Is it?
I've
I
heard of
didn't
some
know
things
that.
like that. I've heard
I
of some
haven't heard of
spells
that.
because it's to do with purity. If you
If you're
want
trying to do something evil, you want the least pure blood. If you want to do something
exactly.
Maybe. Oh. Gasping.
Oh my god.
So, what is your final thoughts?
My final
Pick a theory, bitch.
pick a theory, bitch.
Pick one. Can't have them both. I mean, you could, but like for the sake of my brain,
Sake of the argument. Come on.
for the sake of the debate, pick a side.
Pick a side. Pick a side.
Go on then, pick a side.
I honestly think I'm open to any inquiries, but honestly, I feel like the prostitute theory is very, very tangible.
Yeah.
It's a lot
It's the
more
most
believable
realistic.
and
It's the
realistic, yeah, than anything
down to
else.
earth realistic thing, because it's all fun and games saying she was sacrificed for witchcraft, and they spelt it wrong on purpose.
But there's
It's
only a
just-
select amount of people that believe in it,
yeah, exactly.
and you can't say, "Oh, it was witchcraft," when over half of the world don't believe in it.
Yeah.
It's all half of England don't believe in it. There's only a few people that actually do. I mean, us included.
I mean, obviously,
But
even though we don't follow a religion, really.
yeah, but like you can't be saying that and then because then other people will go, well, no, that's not true.
Witchcraft doesn't exist.
So I think for now, prostitution.
I
would have
agree.
been the
Only
best
because
bet.
it's as much as I was saying, it's fun to sit there and make up these awesome stories of like, oh my god, they spelled it wrong. It's spelled like witch. It's witchcraft. Her hand. This. I've heard that. Like, it's all fun and games. That's amazing, and it's a really cool story. But my gut's telling me that she was probably just a prostitute who owed someone some money or did something
And
to
kind
someone and
It
got with the wrong person at the wrong time and
came back to bite her in the ass.
yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
But man, what a confusing case. Like how is there so much there?
I know.
Because there's so many bits of evidence. There's
There's so
clothing.
many theories, but
And
it
the
really
thing
was
is,
like
Also,
yeah.
again, sorry, just to
No, it's alright.
but in another thing that discounts the MI5 declassified case about her being a spy,
Yeah.
the forensic examiner saying that she had had taffeta in her mouth and died from suffocation. That
She
wouldn't
could-
happen if she fell from a parachute.
Oh my god. Hold on. So prostitution, right? It is very unsafe. You're standing on the corner of a road, standing on the corner of wherever. It doesn't take much for someone to come up behind you and grab you, especially if you're that vulnerable. So maybe you're right. She owed someone something. She took something without permission, someone found where she was at the time, grabbed her,
I
took
mean,
her
she
to
would
the
have been
woods.
known if she was a prostitute
Yeah.
and she had friends and things. She must have been known. They must have known whereabouts
Yeah.
she would have been, and it's a small town.
Took her to the woods.
Took her away and found a nice little resting place for her when
Cut
they
off her head.
accidentally did too much.
Not even accidentally, because I
think
feel like this was
initially-
intentional.
Yeah, I think this was intentional because you wouldn't cut off their hand, and it was only tatters of her clothes, not full clothes. If she was just murdered, her clothes would have been found, but there was only little bits of clothes, which potentially could mean she wasn't wearing many clothes, or that her clothes were removed
But-
before she was put in the tree.
Yeah, but you know, it really is.
And the fact that she was put in the tree still warm,
Still warm.
yeah,
Odd.
absolutely gross.
It was an awesome one to investigate, though. This whole case
This
is
has been
so
awesome.
interesting.
It actually is.
Oh my god.
I love it. I love getting all these details and having these awesome like fantasy moments of like,
Yeah.
oh, what could it be? I feel like I want a crime and TV show. You know, when you're like true crime documentary shows. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm in one of them. I am in one of them. My own one. Oh, welcome,
Well, as always.
as always.
Yeah. We still don't and may never really know
What happened to poor
who
Bella?
did it. Like,
I'm always gonna wonder who put Bella in the witch elm. Like, why was Bella in the witch elm? Who done it?